Which brings me to my talking point on the Indo-Pak Cricket Roundtable. The big questions. Has Indo-Pak cricket become war without weapons? Has politics cast a shadow on Indo-Pak sport? Has social media only aggravated tensions between the two countries and its players? Is it still a sporting encounter or a battle of competing nationalisms? Joining us now, special guests. I'm joined by Kirti Azad, 1983 World Cup winner, joins us. I'm joined by Shishir Hatangdi, former Mumbai captain, with us. Sharda Ugra, senior journalist, written several books on the sport. And by Javed Qureshi. He's joining me from Karachi. He's a former under-19 Pakistan captain, toured India in the late 1970s. Appreciate all of you joining me here on that war without weapons subject. Let's turn to you, Kirti Azad, first. Do you believe that it is war without weapons, that when you're playing Pakistan, the pressure is almost as if you're a soldier, not a cricketer?
So the hype is basically from the crowd. Once, yes, maybe in the evening before the game, you might feel some little butterflies in your stomach. But then I can give you two instances. One, when I was witness to it, I was playing on the ground, was Javed Miandad hitting 6 of the last ball of Chetan Sharma. That is a perfect cricketing shot. Virat Kohli withdrawing himself against Rauf and hitting him straight for a 6. So, you know, the pressure is more outside amongst the people. We have the pressure of when we are playing the bowler, not a Pakistani. We're bowling to a batsman, not to a Pakistani. So generally it is hyped up in such a way as if there is war going on. It's no war. It's a game of cricket that we play.
But are you telling me there's no extra pressure? There is that the pressure of expectations doesn't weigh down on a player in any way?
No, it does. It does. You play any game, there is pressure. Till you get your first run, there is a pressure. Till you middle the ball, there is a pressure. I mean, there is a pressure on the evening before on the eve of the game. There is. You got to perform. I mean, after all, it's your performance that will carry on with your career ahead of you. So it sure is. But if you hype it as much, oh, India and Pakistan, why? Because they're nasty neighbors. And obviously, when you have nasty neighbors, there are a lot of emotions come into people and they start talking about it. Yes, we feel the same. But then once you're on the field, once you're walking on the field, you have a bat in your hand and you're playing the ball, then all those pressure goes away. The pressure of the game is there, but the pressure of that India-Pakistan thing doesn't stay. It only, the pressure only comes if you have lost the game against Pakistan and your house is being stormed.
That's an interesting way to look at it. What could happen after the match? But Javed Qureshi, you captained Pakistan under-19s against India when they came to India in the late 70s. Did you feel pressure, or do you believe it's all happened now? Now, because the surround sound is so much, the pressure is even greater.
When I came to India in '79, there was absolutely no extra pressure. It was a game of cricket between two friendly teams. In fact, we came first from Sri Lanka, where the intensity was much more severe than it was in India. I think obviously things have happened since then, but I would just echo Kirti's point. I don't see this at all as a war. I just see this as in fact, I think this brings the countries together. The goodwill that cricket generates is incredible. I've seen so many positive stories about how our team was, welcomed in Hyderabad, how they're being welcomed in Ahmedabad. Yes, of course, it's high stakes because, people do hype it up, but I don't see this as war. I really don't. I just think this brings out the best in people. It brings out the best in the players. And the players, they have a lot of regard for each other. There's a lot of respect for Indian cricketers going back 30 years, 40 years, and certainly even today. And I think it's vice versa. There's tremendous skills, respect for each other. So, I think this is just unnecessarily built up to be other than something that's quite wonderful.
Shishir Hatangdi, you're there in Ahmedabad, and many believe that Ahmedabad, in a way, is, it'll be politically surcharged. It's the capital city of Gujarat, which is the Prime Minister's home state. The stadium is named Narendra Modi. There are very few Pakistanis who've been given visas, so it'll be completely dominated by Indian fans. do you get a sense that there is a surround sound that you can't miss anymore when it comes to Indo-Pak cricket? Probably because we play with each other so infrequently at the moment.
So, Rajdeep, let me take you back into history a bit. You know, some of the players before the partition happened in 1947 played for India. You know, whether it was Abdul Hafiz Kardar or Amir Ilahi, they played for India and then they went on to play for Pakistan post 1952. And it starts from there that, you know, how can you play for one country one day and then the other country the other day? There is an emotional quotient from history. There's also an emotional quotient about what happened in 65 and 71, and there was a bit of, there were no bilateral cricket till in the 78 series that we went to Pakistan. So I think, you know, the surround sound is so large, and I mean, I can sense it now in Ahmedabad, sitting here, that, you know, the roads are empty. Everybody's heading towards the Motera, the Narendra Modi Stadium, and what I can expect is cricket to be separated from what is happening outside the cricketing ground and the stadium. And this is about emotion, and this is about you know, what's happening across the borders. But given a choice as a cricketer or a cricket lover at the moment, I just think that, you know, we need to focus on the game itself and what's happening within those 75 yards. I'm not sure people around will allow us to forget everything and just focus on the game. But I think rather than hyping up the surround sound, we should hype up the quality of cricket that is going to come in a day or two.
Easier said than done, though, Sharda Ugra, isn't it? There was a book, War Minus the Shooting. Mike Marquez wrote it in 1996 when there was a World Cup held in the subcontinent. India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka actually jointly co-hosted it, something which is improbable at the moment. Given the political situation between the two countries, where even the high commissioners are no longer there in the two countries, they've been downgraded diplomatically. Do you get a sense that surround sound surely must pierce through any dressing room wall? The players are being asked. The original question that I posed to Kirti Azad, almost asked to perform as soldiers.
You know, Rajdeep, what you're saying that you said something about Indo-Pak sport. Has it been sort of taken over by politics or kind of kidnapped, or whatever the word you want to choose? It's not Indo-Pak sport. Indo-Pak sport goes on by and large by itself under the radar. Sometimes there were no visas given for some Pakistani shooters to come here. Indo-Pak cricket is the thing that politics latches onto. And I agree with what Javed Saab is saying, that for cricketers, for real cricket fans, it means something else. What has happened, that this match is going to take place in Ahmedabad tomorrow, is a completely separate thing. It's not just any game, because of the fact that the crowd, you know, the crowd, the background, all the rest of it. And hopefully the cricketers have been able to distance themselves from it. They're not taking in too much information that they need to. In the last, say, 10 years, social media has just become very toxic, and you're having these conversations. But if you speak to Indian fans on the street, do you want to see the Pakistani play? They say yes. Yesterday, there was a Twitter feed going on. I'll say this very quickly, saying shame on BCCI, and they were comparing. You know, they were saying that there was an attack in Kashmir, and 3 soldiers were killed, and they're saying so everyone tries to bring in this. They are conflating a cricket team of a country with the government. You know, so I mean, I think as cricketers, I'll ask the cricketers here: would you like to be considered as representative of the party in power, not even government? I mean, party in power. You may represent the Indian state, you may represent the country, the culture, the people, but you surely don't represent the party in power. And I don't think that pressure should be put on anyone, on any team, but it is being put both on the Indians and on the Pakistanis through social media, and it's very unfair.
You know, social media is the word that was mentioned just now by you, Sharda, and I want to take that to you, Kirti Azad. When you were playing India-Pakistan cricket and you had a remarkable innings against the Pakistanis, I remember here in Delhi in the 1980s, there was no social media. Now look at what happens. You don't perform. Mohammad Shami had a bad match in 2021 against the Pakistanis. He was attacked. Even his religious identity was attacked, and many believed many of the tweets had come in from Pakistan to try and spread mischief. Now this is how social media works. So is there that extra pressure that comes because you are no longer in a bubble in your dressing room? you're constantly getting these echo sounds from social media.
That's the unfortunate part, because a player tries to do his best. You want to go ahead. I think there was a catch dropped by Arshdeep in one game against the Pakistanis, and the entire social media went against him. So, you know, this is the unfortunate part. You know, the unfortunate thing in the subcontinent is that, and especially in India, that we have the winning spirit, we don't have the sportsman spirit. If somebody plays better than you and wins, then you should appreciate it. But unfortunately, if something wrong goes somewhere, just even 1% of it, the social media goes all out against you. And that's the worst part. I mean, that makes a demon out of you, as if you're a big demon and you are the Ravana and you should be straight away hanged. So it's unfortunate that you have a kind of a social media which is unfortunately trying to put pressure on the players.
You know, there is, of course, the Pakistan side. And Javed, I want to come to you by playing first a soundbite of the Pakistan Cricket Board chairperson before the team left, Parvez Ashraf. Listen in to what he said, and I want you then to respond in a moment, Javed. Just let's listen in to what Parvez Ashraf said.
मैं खाली पाकिस्तान की हिस्ट्री में इतने पैसे कभी नहीं मिले जितने मैंने इनको दिए, क्योंकि मेरा मकसद एक ही था कि हमारे जितने प्लेयर्स हैं ये मोराल इनका अप होना चाहिए जब ये किसी दुश्मन मुल्क में या किसी जगह भी खेलने जाएं जहाँ कंपटीशन हो रहा है.
You know, जब वो किसी दुश्मन मुल्क में खेलने जाए, enemy country, is this how Pakistanis see this battle now? That we have to, in a way, fight a jung. And, you know, this is not just now. Imran Khan, the famous Imran Khan, the great Imran Khan also once was quoted as suggesting that when he played India, it was almost like a jihad for Kashmir. Is there that factor or not? And are such words unfortunate, jihad, jung, that are used during such matches?
These are extremely unfortunate words. You have no idea what the backlash was against the comments made by Zaka Ashraf Saab. He was embarrassed. I think he had a bad moment and he was gracious enough to come forward and apologize for his comments. That is not the spirit, and there was tremendous, outcry about this. I think the other thing, Rajdeep, which is very important also to understand is that, there is tremendous legacy respect of generations of cricketers who played with each other, who still remain friends. People like Sunil Gavaskar Saab is revered in Pakistan. 1992 World Cup, he was very supportive of Pakistan. People haven't forgotten. And the cricketing fraternity is like a brotherhood. So, Wasim Akrams, Ramiz Rajas all speak very highly of their Indian counterparts. That filters through down to these players. So, you do have, unfortunate people who angry people who want to see other things. But, the players, the genuine cricket lovers, there's a lot of goodwill for this. And people don't see this. People think this is very unfortunate discussion. And it's really a minority. I will say that again and again. The respect the players enjoy for each other, tremendous.
So you're saying there's a small minority which can, of course, hijack the agenda. But Shishir, is Javed being a bit of a romantic like all of us are? We romance this game. We want this game to be a pure sport. But because, as Sharda put it a little while ago, politicians take over. The politicians expect you to win. They invest a lot in cricketers because they can't resolve India-Pakistan issues diplomatically. They put the pressure on the players.
Well, I think to be asking cricketers to double up for politicians would be asking for too much. Because at the end of the day, it's a game of cricket. And if they want to segregate politics and cricket, it would have been nice to see the greatest captain of Pakistan coming here to watch this big game, Imran Khan, where he is somewhere in prison at the moment. And that would have been a clear indicative that they're able to segregate politics and this great game of cricket. And I'm happy that there are people like Javed, may that tribe increase, because if the game has to be restored, for whatever it's worth, we need more of his ilk in the game of cricket.
But Sharda, that's easy. I come back to it. Easier said than done. We are cricket romantics. We want the sport to triumph. But we've seen what's happened in the past. If a Pakistani team loses to India, the players will be abused, they'll be attacked, and vice versa. Kirti Azad just mentioned Arshdeep dropping a catch and social media just jumped on him. You get a sense that somewhere the players, as I said, are finding themselves in tangles they don't want to be. The Indian team won't travel to Pakistan at the moment, citing security reasons. The Pakistanis got their visas late. You know, there is this problem outside beyond the boundary that we can't ignore.
Absolutely not. But we are cricket romantics for sure. But I must point out something. Numbers also tell a story. When Pakistan and Sri Lanka played that game, and Pakistan's chase started getting tight at the end, and it was getting tense. There were 1 crore connections on Hotstar. That's 10 million families in India were watching this on Hotstar streaming. Only Hotstar streaming. We don't know about everything else. That could be 5 people. 4 people watching, so that's 40-50 million people watching that match, which did not feature India. So when you're thinking about that, you have to say that there is an audience that's looking for this, that wants to see a good cricket match. And another thing to point out is that the fact that the Indian cricket team cannot go to Pakistan has nothing to do with the cricketers. It's the government's decision. The fact that the Pakistani cricket team didn't get visas in time has nothing to do with cricket or the BCCI. It has to do at a much higher level. It's being done deliberately. So, I mean, the Pakistani team has been treated shoddily by the Indian establishment. Whatever the BCCI says, to me, it looks like this India-Pakistan seems to be the only match they're invested in. And I keep saying this, that, people in the highest reaches of power, both in cricket and outside cricket in the country, they love Indo-Pak cricket, but they don't want to have Pakistanis featuring in it. It's been a nonsense kind of a reaction. And you cannot blame cricketers for it. I mean, the cricketers will find it absurd because they are competitive. Actually, they want to play the Pakistanis. I call India-Pakistan cricket a reassurance-building measure between fans. That this is us. This is us. This is who we are. It's great that they could come here and meet people and see people after 7 years. I mean, whatever the politics is, it is. I mean, why cannot India and Pakistan play bilateral? Play ICC Test Championship because it's an ICC event. Go and play it in a neutral venue. You need that kind of confidence to come from the board itself. But the board at the moment is sort of owned by a larger political interests. It's a very different cricket board to what it was in 2011, and certainly not like what it was in '96, where 3 countries hosted the World Cup. So the politics of the country has really put enormous pressure on the cricketers and the fans, and it's completely unfair. And social media has just amplified and exacerbated it. It's terrible.
Kirti Azad, there will be those who are watching this show, and in the build-up also we've heard noises that, look at it, our soldiers are getting killed at the border, there's cross-border terror, how can we play a game of cricket? Do you agree with that? And as Sharda says, why can't we play with Pakistan in a test match at a neutral venue? Has politics, because the present government doesn't want to have any deepening relations with Pakistan, influence the way the cricketers are? If the cricketers were left to themselves, would they want to play against Pakistan, irrespective of what's happening on the border?
Well, there are 2 parts to this. One is when you're playing an ICC tournament, you have to play it, otherwise you lose your membership. You play a T20, or you play a Champions League, or you play a Test cricket series, or you play this World Cup that we are playing, Cricket World Cup. That is one thing that you have to play. You're obligated to play that. But when you talk about bilateral relations, terror and talks don't go together. And that is one thing I will always, as an Indian, say, that until this terror stops, we should not have bilateral with Pakistan. We have had examples like South Africa, the apartheid, the entire world had boycotted them. You had, I think, 1984 Olympics, the complete Moscow Olympics, when the complete Western bloc had boycotted them. So 80 Moscow, yeah. So, there have been instances where people have made a statement against apartheid and other issues which have been very serious. And here, when we talk about India, we are getting soldiers martyred every day, almost every day. And bilaterals, terror and talks, I once again repeat, no.
Okay, you're saying terror and talks, or terror and cricket in a way, can't go together. Bilateral cricket, Sharda Ugra feels differently.
Yes.
Sharda Ugra feels differently. Javed Qureshi, from a Pakistani perspective, do you concede that as long as there's a hostile situation at the border, how do you play a cricket match in a normal atmosphere?
No, it's look. I respect Kirti Saab's opinion, but I do think that we should be playing bilateral cricket. It'll bring the countries closer together. Hopefully, it will clear misunderstandings about some fundamental things. And I think by not playing, we continue to create more tension and create more animosity, and we then give the extreme people in our respective countries ammunition to carry on, and this just becomes a vicious circle. I think we need to break this, but as you said, I'm a romantic. Maybe I'm a bit too idealistic.
No harm being a romantic. We need more romantic. We played this game because we loved it. But Shishir Atandi, do you believe terror and cricket can go together?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
In fact, cricket's such a small part of what's happening across the borders, and I really believe that, in my own way, I mean, we've lost people on both sides. People have lost families and brothers and sisters, brothers and fathers. So to be thinking that sport is going to bridge that gap, it's going to bring people closer, I think it's a figment of our romantic imagination. It's not going to happen. I know that the ICC events are, in a sense, mandatory for teams to play because there's a lot of money involved. There is broadcasting rights involved. Money has to go to boards from the revenue that comes in, so they are obliged to play the tournament. But as an Indian or as a Pakistani, I think bilateral series is not the solution to what's happening, right, on those borders. And we need to take that a little seriously. Cricket's a very small part of all this. It's more about the safety of citizens on both sides.
In conclusion, I want to go right round the round table, asking you all your favorite India-Pakistan moment. Sharda, Ugra, you start. Over the years, we've seen a lot of India-Pakistan cricket, one-day tests. Is there a moment that stands out for you, Sharda Ugra?
Many moments. What I treasure most during India-Pakistan matches, if I'm reporting on them, is to be able to meet my Pakistani colleagues from across the border, to joke, to laugh, to share gossip. That is what to me is the most enjoyable part of it. And I just wanted to say something is that, say that terror and talks do not go together, but then everything should stop. No, why are you having trade? Why are you having, teams from going across the border and coming from the other side? Why is that happening? Why is cricket always used as currency? Cricket is used as currency. So, and it happens all the time. Of course, there needs to be, and terror on both sides, people have suffered, like she said, quite eloquently.
I unfortunately, even trade has stopped post in the last few years, post Pulwama. But I take your larger point that why is cricket the soft target? But your favorite moment, you said, is just getting the press persons of the two countries talking to each other in the press box. Kirti Azad.
Cricket about the boards, yeah, mostly.
Sure. Kirti Azad, do you have a favorite moment on the field? What's your favorite Indo-Pak cricket moment?
There's so many of them. I mean, my personal performance here in the day-night game against Pakistan, it was 75 for 7 chasing 197, needed about 100 odd runs in 11 or 12 overs, and it was 4 or 5 runs those days were a hell of a lot. And ultimately, I managed to hit 4 sixes, got it till the end, won by 1 wicket in the last over. So, personally, that was a great moment for me. That was immediately after the World Cup. The first game, first day-night game, that also against Pakistan, which we were losing.
Okay, then we will remember that day, of course, of Kirti Azad smashing the Pakistani attack. Javed Qureshi, what is your favorite moment in India-Pakistan cricket?
Rajdeep, it's got to be Javed Miandad asking Dilip Doshi for his room number. We have watched that hundreds of times. I still continue to watch it. To me, it is just unbelievable that is what was going on. And I'm quite friendly with Javed, and he gives me some inside information on that, which is even more funny about how some people were winding him up, saying go and keep doing it. To me, that's priceless. It's absolutely priceless.
I just want to tell our younger viewers, this was Javed Miandad asking for a room number of Dilip Doshi, the left-arm spinner, because he kept saying, I'm going to hit you in where your room is in the hotel. And that's what really got under Dilip Doshi's nerves. But it showed that sort of humorous tinge amidst the sort of tension around an Indo-Pak match. But Shishir Atandi, in conclusion, what's your favorite Indo-Pak moment?
Well, my favorite moment, Rajdeep, will be the day after I got married. I was on honeymoon and I decided to postpone my honeymoon because there was a certain gentleman called Kirti Azad who was tonking the ball over the park, and I told my wife, cricket comes first. I wasn't very popular after that, I can tell you, in my house. And you know, that innings was something that stood out in my life.
Okay, so you postponed your honeymoon to watch Indo-Pak cricket. That's perhaps the magic of the match. At the end of the day, we of course fiercely wear our patriotism on our sleeve, but we enjoy a game of cricket. And that's what hopefully makes Indo-Pak cricket so special. Thank you to my guests for joining me.